Hey guys, it's me again, and this time I'm not bringing you mindless crap, I'm actually bringing something that could be deemed useful. Today I'm going to be doing an iPad tutorial for those who are either not as smart as I am, or people who just can't be fucked to learn what to do. So, this is pretty much a simple overview. I'm going to tell you what sort of apps that should be gotten, like free apps that are good and free apps that are terrible. And I'm going to show you some games which are pretty good. And also, this is the key part, I'm going to be showing you what to do and what not to do with your iPad on conserving battery power. Now, let's get started. The top button is actually, the power button is actually in a different place, but everyone who's read about the iPad knows this. So you got the iPad screen here. Probably lower the brightness. Now, as you can see, my home screen is a bit different, so I'm going to move the camera back so you can get the full screen there. There you go. So as you can see, you can kind of see that I've reorganized it a bit, and because I'm a bit of much of an information slut, you know, I like any information I can get my hands on, just so I can read it and say, oh my god, I know this. So anyway, to show you what I've got on my initial page, I've got Flipboard, YouTube, Calendar, Contacts, Maps, or Google Maps, iBooks, My Account. This is a Telstra. This is for 3G users. So if you haven't got this, don't worry about it. I'll actually show you how to get it later on. Photos, Notes, Pages, and of course Settings. Unfortunately, the screen brightness is a bit bright, but we can actually fix that later on. So when you first get your iPad, it's not going to look anything like this. You're only going to have YouTube, Calendar, Contacts, Maps, Photos, Notes, Settings, Safari, Mail, iTunes, App Store, iPod, and Videos. Those are the only applications you're going to start off with. Well, yeah, that's what I remember anyway. Please don't be afraid to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's all I can remember. So, first thing you want to do when you get your new iPad is to fiddle around with the settings to see what's good for you. At the moment, I have the screen set on maximum brightness, which is good if you're in like highlight situations, like if you're outside in the sun or anywhere that's fairly bright, so you can actually see the screen, because the screen is actually quite reflective. If you noticed earlier in the video, you can actually see me in the reflection even though the room is actually quite dark. Anyway, so I'm going to go to Settings. As you can see, Settings is fairly straightforward. Up here you have Airplane Mode, Wi-Fi, Carrier, Notifications, Cellular Data, Brightness and Wallpaper, Picture Frame, General, Mail, Contacts, Calendars, Safari, iPod, Videos, Photos, and Store. I haven't really had to worry about using Store yet, so I'm going to have a look at that later on. Now, every time you open up Settings, it's always going to come back to General. General is pretty much just, well, general stuff. So maybe a bit closer so you can actually see what's going on. See, you've got all your basic settings. Anyway, moving on. So you got your About. Now this is like universal with all iPods, iPads, and everything. It tells you pretty much everything that's on your thing. It tells the name. It also tells you the name of the device. Now I named my device after the caterpillar in the Alice in Wonderland story because I love Alice in Wonderland. So the iPad's name is Absalom. I like the name. It's a nice name. Now it just tells you all the general settings. It even tells you your carrier, your model, Wi-Fi address. So if you ever need any of that, it's all in the About part, in the About your iPad under the General tab. Going back. Now, setting up a network on the iPad is also very easy. So let's just get in a bit closer so I can. Probably should have chosen a smaller book. Well, I'll probably fix that later. So I'm sorry about the picture quality, but maybe maybe that's just because I'm looking through a very small window. But anyway, so first thing you want to do is get connected to the internet. Of course, why wouldn't you want to do that? So you go to network, and since I've already got it on a network, it's called D-Link. So I don't really have to worry about that. But let's say I want to go onto a new one. Now it's already got auto detect, so it tells me all the networks that I can possibly connect to. It even tells me that my PS3 is actually broadcasting a wireless network, but you can't really access that because they wouldn't sync up. It just doesn't work. So let's say I want to join D-Link, so I just join D-Link by clicking on it. That's unprotected. If you want to join a protected one, you just click on it and you enter in the relevant details. Now if you can't find the network but you know it's there, sometimes you have to enter the name and because there's a Wi-Fi few settings, although the recent update 3.2.1 actually might have fixed that because I haven't actually changed the settings around lately. Also there's a blue arrow here, touch that and you get the IP address, subnet mask, router, which is pretty much the D-Link details. Now mine are fairly basic because, well, it's a fairly basic network. We live out in the country so we don't really have to protect it with anything. So that's network. You shouldn't have to fiddle around with this too much. And if you leave it on ask to join network, which is right down the bottom here, the iPad will automatically search for any network available. Also, another thing you should know about the iPad is that it prefers Wi-Fi over 3G. If it can attach itself to a Wi-Fi network that is like just for Wi-Fi, any Wi-Fi network, even if you don't have the password, it will want to join that network because 3G is not as powerful as Wi-Fi. And you will notice that with YouTube videos that 3G does not broadcast the same quality picture that Wi-Fi does. But that's later on. So down here we have brightness and wallpaper. Now this is just where you change your brightness, wallpaper, well pretty much exactly what it's called. If I want to change the wallpaper, I simply click on this tab down here. It takes me to wallpaper and I have my saved photos, my pictures and wallpaper. So for this example let's go to wallpaper and let's pick this one. And oop, that fell back a bit. Adjusting iPad and moving on. So as you can see, I'm not exactly sure what that is. It's pretty much like chalkboard. But you know, so you have 3 tabs up here. So since you can't see it, or you may be able to see it, I'm not sure, I can't because my preview screen sucks. It says set to lock screen, which is the screen that you automatically go on after you click the home button to turn it on. Set home screen, which is your home screen. And you've got set both. So let's say I want to set it both. It doesn't tell you anyway. So you go back to wallpaper, and now you may notice this bar up here, that's brightness. So this is like, you'd only set it to maximum brightness if you're in a sunny area. I think I've already said that, but moving on. So let's say we want to set it to half brightness. See, it's actually a lot better, and it's a lot better suited for low light situations. You also may have noticed this little thing here called auto brightness. Now at the top of the iPad up here there is actually a little sensor which tells what the ambient light is. Now a lot of people actually thought this was a camera at first. I actually thought it was a camera at first and I got really excited, but then I thought, oh wait, it's not a camera, it's just a sensor. And I had a major downer after that. Anyway, so something else you might want to do is set up your mail. Now mail is actually a lot better through iPad. I mean, I have a lot of fun with mail. Even the mundane spam mails I get is actually a lot of fun to play around with. Now, you shouldn't have to fiddle too much with this. Like all this stuff down here, you don't really have to go near that. I mean, once you set up your account, you can pretty much just leave it alone. This one here though, fetch new data, is very important to know about. It's all about fetching data for your iPad. It pretty much just it's like a push notification. It'll reach out and try to grab all the data about from your mailbox or from whatever server that your mail server currently goes through. Ugh, sorry, need a drink. So it has push notifications, so it'll just push the data through, so you can just do whatever. Now it'll actually fetch data from the mail server, like I said before, and you can have 4 settings: every 15 minutes, every half hour, hourly, and then you have manually. Manual is pretty much whenever you're just told to look for mail. So that's fairly thing. I have mine set to every 15 minutes. However, I would like to stress that that actually does help drain a bit on battery power. Anyway, so if you want to conserve on battery power, hourly or half hourly is a lot better than 15 minutes. Going back. Now, I have my Gmail account up the top here, and under that is there the Add Account button, which is pretty much simple. If you have Microsoft Exchange, MobileMe, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, or other, if you you would use other if you had something like I don't know, Hotmail or something like that, like a party that isn't listed there. MobileMe is the one for Apple, so if you're with Apple, just choose that one. Gmail, since I'm with Gmail, I can actually just click on this and set up my new account. Let's say I want to set up a other account. to mail add account, so you just click on that and it'll bring up a little window saying name, address, so your email address, password, and the description. I never really understood what that description was about, but you know, it's Apple. Now you've got a whole bunch of other stuff here, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. I never really bothered with it because it's, again, settings you don't really need to mess around with unless you have to, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics for mail. You don't really have to fiddle around with that too much. So once you put in your account, you can pretty much just leave it be. Safari is Safari, so you don't just leave all the things on. Bookmark bar on, fraud warning on, so just leave all them on and you'll be fine. Also, search engine. With the latest update, it was actually updated so that you can include Microsoft Bing. I never understood what Bing was because I always preferred either Google or Yahoo, but you know, everyone has to have options. So I just already picked, you have 3 options, Google, Yahoo, and Bing. I picked Google. Sorry if I'm a bit rushed. I'm not used to talking at length. You also have other settings, iPod, which is pretty much just basic settings. You know, you can figure that out yourself. Video. Video says start playing, or closed captioning, widescreen, and TV signal. Now if you have, like said, from an iPod to TV connection or something, or along the lines of that, you can actually just set it to PAL or NTSC, which is a TV type, which doesn't really need to know about, because if you know about it, you know about it, but if you don't, you can always just go back onto the internet to find out what is going on. Sorry. And now here you have widescreen. Now if you have a video that is 16:9, which is a format, which is the widescreen format, it will automatically play it through that. But if you turn it off, it'll actually turn it into a 4:3, which will cut the edges off, and you'll get a bigger image, but it will not look as good, and it'll actually pixelate it a bit more. So, just if you really want to. Closed captioning, if you have the option of closed captioning, you can turn it on or off. I leave it on because none of my videos have closed captioning. And start playing where I left off is just pretty much if I leave a video to go do something else and I come back, it'll remember where I left it. Photos, it's just the slideshow settings. Store is so you can view account or sign out of the account, so you can sign into another one. And airplane mode, now that one is if you're on an airplane. That pretty much just cuts off all Wi-Fi and 3G signal, and if you are using it, they will require you to do that, although most of the time they'll just tell you to turn it off regardless.